Hello. Today we have a story of a 63-year-old man who transformed to an alpha male from a docile husband as he finds his wife's infidelity. I'm here to share a story that unfolded about 2.5 years ago, a tale that shook the very foundation of my family. It's not about my husband and me, for we've been happily married for 14 years. Instead, the unfortunate events I'm about to recount involve my parents, a 59-year-old woman and a 63-year-old man. They had been blissfully married for over 38 years, creating a life filled with love and shared adventures. After retiring to Arizona 3 years ago, they embraced a lifestyle of exploration, traveling from October through April and spending the warmer months with family in Utah. My parents owned a picturesque home along the river and a new diesel truck with a camper, and our family always looked forward to their visits. My husband had even set up full RV hookups on our 16-acre property, complete with electricity, water, and septic connections. Life was, by all measures, idyllic. But then everything changed last Thursday. In their Arizona community lived a woman named Josephine. To me, she exuded an air of discomfort, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. Loud, obnoxious, and a fan of partying, she seemed like an odd match for my mom, who typically enjoyed a quiet, social drink only occasionally. My suspicions grew, but my mom assured me that Josephine was harmless, possessing a heart of gold. Despite my misgivings, my mom and Josephine became fast friends, and even some of her other friends warmed up to Josephine's boisterous personality. It was a red flag, but my concerns fell on deaf ears. Little did we know that this friendship would unravel the tapestry of our family's ideal life, tarnishing the role model marriage my parents had built for my brother and me. The story I'm about to unfold is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that affairs and betrayal can happen at any age, and sometimes, it's not just the young who succumb to forbidden romances. Explained that Josephine and Jenny were going to continue their evening, but she felt tired and wanted to call it a night. Dad, ever the understanding husband, obliged and brought her home. However, this is where the tale takes an unexpected turn. As Mom settled back into our home, a heavy air of discomfort lingered. She seemed distant and preoccupied. When Dad questioned her about the sudden change in her plans and the extended nights out, Mom hesitated. Finally, with a mix of guilt and anxiety, she confessed. It was a revelation that shattered the image of the perfect marriage my parents had cultivated for over 3 decades. She admitted to being involved in an affair, not with just anyone, but with a man significantly younger than her, Josephine's friend, a so-called young simp. The news hit Dad like a ton of bricks. He listened in disbelief as Mom unraveled the forbidden romance that had developed during those supposedly innocent happy hours. The belly tingles and the excitement of a forbidden liaison had entangled her in a web of deceit, and the consequences were already taking a toll on her health. But what happened next was beyond anyone's expectations. Dad, a 63-year-old man, revealed a side that none of us had seen before. He didn't react with anger or despair. Instead, he calmly absorbed the shock, processing the betrayal with the composure of a true Sigma male. The revelation hit our family like a sudden storm, leaving devastation in its wake. As Mom cried out her confession to Dad, he held on to his composure, absorbing the shock of her betrayal. The very foundation of their 38-year marriage crumbled in an instant. That night, as Mom clung to Dad, pleading for forgiveness, he remained stoic. He instructed her to take a shower, and despite her pleas to share the bed, he firmly refused. The night was long, filled with Mom's repeated attempts to talk and Dad's insistence that they discuss matters in the morning. By 5:30 a.m., Mom finally succumbed to sleep, only to wake up at 8 a.m. and find Dad gone along with his camper. Unbeknownst to her, he had quietly moved his belongings overnight, symbolizing his decision to separate from her. Despite the decades they spent together, Dad was resolute in his response to her infidelity. Dad's professionalism in handling the situation was astounding. He had left without disturbing Mom, utilizing the sliding door to the patio to move his clothes and personal items into the camper. Mom, desperate and confused, called him repeatedly, only to receive a text declaring their official separation as of 6 a.m. April 9, the very morning she woke up to an empty bed. The realization of the divorce shook Mom to her core. In a final call, Dad calmly repeated his decision to divorce her, stating that she would hear from his attorney once he had won. He hung up, leaving Mom in a state of disbelief and despair. As if fate had a cruel say,